Hello Spurs fans, I've decided to make a series analysing Tottenham and the future of the club, and most importantly a heavy breakdown on tactics. Please do not expect good visual quality for the first few videos, as I have not done this before. However, I have tried to get as deep of a breakdown of the club and analysis as I could. Like I said before, we will look at the future of the club in this series. However, I think in order to know what the club needs to do in the future, we must first look at what went right and wrong in the past. Although today we will cover someone who did good for the club, Ange postecoglu. This video won't be in as much detail as the videos I hope to make, as this is just the starting video. Firstly, let's look at Ange postecoglu's early life and management. Ange Postecoglou was born in Athens and moved to Melbourne when he was 5 years old. At the age of 9, Ange joined South Melbourne Hellas as a left-back. He worked himself up to the first squad, where he won 2 titles and 4 appearances for the Australian national team and got named in the Team of the Century for South Melbourne. 3 years after he retired, he managed South Melbourne FC. They won titles in his second and third season in charge. He then resigned to join the Australian youth team. He went on to show on a show called The World's Game, and it went as bad as it could get, as he argued with the show's host. He was then pretty much unemployable, but then suddenly he went to Greece's third division, and after this, back to Australia to manage Whittlesea Zebras. Then hired by Brisbane Roar in the A-League. In one season, they went from last to first. They lost 1 game and became the most successful team in A-League history at the time. Then he resigned and joined Melbourne Victory, after joining the Australian senior national team, and in 2015 the Asian Cup came around. He finished second in the group and they made it to the final against South Korea, who scored a last-minute goal to tie it. The scorer of this goal, Sun Min, who is argued to be one of Spurs' best ever players. But then the Australia team scored in the extra time and won the cup. He then went to Yokohama Marinos in Japan and survived relegation, but also scored second most goals in the league. He then won the league in the next season. After all this, though, something unexpected happened as he joined Celtic, the best team in Scotland. He then got stick from the press, but what he did is what he did best. He sold loads of players and signed more. He won the league, and then he won the treble in the next season, winning 5 out of 6 trophies in the possible 2 years he was at the club. And something even more shocking, he joined Tottenham. This is where the first bit of tactical analysis will happen, as after 10 games of Premier League football, Spurs were unbeaten. This was due to Ange ball. His system consisted of keeping possession of the ball and having constant attack, with the key parts being broken down now. Ball is Ange Postecoglu's attacking philosophy: dominate possession, press aggressively, play a high defensive line, and overload central areas using inverted fullbacks. The shape often looked like a 2-3-5 in possession, even though it started as a 4-3-3. The goal is to keep the ball, win it back quickly, and create constant numerical advantages in midfield. One key aspect of Postecoglu's style at Spurs has been a deeper build-up from the back, a diamond shape made up of the goalkeeper at the base, the 2 centre-backs, and the deepest pivot supporting, who would have been Basuma, to help break that line, with the fullbacks inverting inwards into the midfield spaces. Although the fullbacks offer support for passes around, they also move inside. This has been a key feature of Postecoglu's previous teams, with the shift back to having more possession inevitable. With Tottenham having to make more passes per 90 compared to the seasons prior, they were also dribbling much more. The average 28.24 dribbles per 90 was the most in the league after 12 games, and are almost identical to the numbers in Pochettino's final season. Like I mentioned before, a part that made this system so successful were the fullbacks. The fullbacks would commonly invert inside to create overloads in the central spaces, which gives his players more options in the middle of the pitch, allowing the team to play a variant of attacking football. Commonly, both fullbacks moved inside to try and narrow the opposing wingers, therefore creating more space for Tottenham's wide attackers such as Kulusevski. If you ask most Spurs fans about the first 10 Premier League games Ange Postecoglou had, a lot of them will mention how good Basuma was. Under Conte, Basuma often looked uncomfortable because he was asked to play in a double pivot system, but Ange immediately made him the lone 6. When Spurs built from the back, the centre-backs split, the fullbacks inverted, and Basuma was in the middle of everything. He was the connection between every single player and the possession of the football. The entire purpose of Basuma being in that midfield was because that was his exact play style. he was able to receive with the opponents behind him and was able to turn away from pressure and carry the ball through the midfield or play a pass to a wide player on one of the fullbacks. This created a very big superiority in the Spurs' midfield and was a large part to why Spurs were able to keep so much possession, with Yves Bissouma after the first 2 league matches under Ange postecoglu having 57 ball carries, the most in the Premier League, and 33 progressive carries, the most in the Premier League. This possession and passing play through Bissouma came very clear even in the first game against Brentford, as he had 138 touches in 90 minutes played, and against Arsenal on matchday 6 he had 71 touches, 51 out of 54 passes completed, 4 out of 4 tackles won, and 4 ball recoveries. The single pivot role is very dangerous to play, but when you have a player like Yves Bissouma, whose sole purpose is to be able to turn under pressure, it can work every single time. Centre-backs were another key part of Ange postecoglu's system, with him needing 2 different types. With Spurs playing a high line, he needed Mickey van der Ven. This was because his elite recovery pace and his high speed allowed Spurs to play a high line with less of a risk. He can cover huge spaces and is comfortable carrying the ball into the midfield. Romero, however, was able to play passes. He could often connect to the midfield or even attack with his over-the-top balls or simple balls. Another very important part was Maddison, who was kind of Ange's most creative player at the time. He was able to break structure and see things others don't. Maddison was that Spurs player who could also drop in deep to help Bissouma, or he could go forward and help players like Son Heung-min, who was playing centrally due to Kane's absence. He also connected the whole pitch, such as Bissouma, with his passing ability, being able to switch the ball from either side or through teams. Within the summer transfer window of 23-24, 9 players joined, most notably Vicario, Kulusevski and Porro on permanent deals, James Maddison, Van der Ven and Brennan Johnson, with notable outgoings being Harry Kane to Bayern for 95 million, Winks, Moura and Sanchez all leaving the club permanently, and Jed Spence going out on loan, as well as previous club record signing Tanguy and Ndombele. In January of that same season, Spurs had 2 incomings, with Werner in on loan from RB Leipzig and Raju Ragusin in for £28 million from Genoa, with neither signing really contributing too much to the long-term team. 8 players also left the club in January, with 7 of them being loans, including another loan move for Jed Spence. In the summer window of 24-25, Spurs brought 4 players in, those being Lucas Bergwijn and Archie Gray, who have now won both the Player of the Season since signing, and another club record signing in Dominic Solanke from Bournemouth for £65 million, and Wilson Oliver from Burnley for £30 million. 16 players left in the 2024 summer window, with notable players being Dyer, Perisic, Schuberg, Emerson Royale and Oliver Skip. In the January window of 2025, 4 players were brought in, with Yamin Hayok, Kinski brought in as a replacement for the injured Vicario, Danzo brought in due to centre-back injuries, and Matisse Tell from Bayern Munich on deadline day, with the only departure of the window being Yamin Hayok, who went straight on loan to QPR. Ange, of course, then won Spurs the Europa League on the 21st of May 2025 in a final against Manchester United in Bilbao. He would then later hint at the Europa League trophy parade that he was staying at the club, saying, "I told them and they laughed. I told them and they didn't believe. And here we are. I'll leave you with this. All the best television series. Season 3 is better than Season 2. However, despite this, on the 6th of June 2025, Ange postecoglu was sacked from Tottenham to later be replaced with Thomas Frank. Thank you for watching. And I know this video may not be the best, but it's a start for me in order to make bigger and better content on Spurs. Let me know any thoughts on what videos you would like to see in the future.